Hi, everyone, and welcome to Designing Canvas Courses for All Learners. My name is Mary Beth Carrilco, go by MB, and I'm an instructional designer with the Office of Teaching and Learning's Instructional Applications Group. Thank you so much for coming. So today we're going to talk about a number of topics, but they all go toward building the best possible course for your students and in turn for yourselves. Because Canvas has a lot of great tools you can use to make things easier for, again, for yourself and for your students, reducing that cognitive load and amount of work that you already have so much of. So I like to talk about the principles behind these sort of things so you can kind of understand where all this is coming from. There's a number of fields that sort of are interwoven and overlap. Couple you've probably heard of: student experience, self-evident. These are student-centered courses. And when the course is better for the student, it's better for you as well. As I mentioned earlier, fewer questions about where the materials are, about what's happening. Another one you might know, digital accessibility. There's a lot of talk right now around that. We're doing accessibility workshops. There's a lot of that happening. So it's always important. It will be especially important next year when there's a big update to Title II. So just want to always keep that in mind, accessibility, and we'll touch on those things too. Human-centered design is something you may not really think about as much until you go to a building that has a handle shaped like this and you have to push it to get in. So, bad design is everywhere in the physical world, and human-centered design helps to it gives us affordances, if you will. If you're going to push a door, it should be flat and it should indicate, which way the door goes. But that, of course, in the physical world also then translates into user interface design, or UX, which is I'll also refer to throughout this as usability. And then finally, information design, which is all part of this. When you're creating your courses, obviously you have a lot of information, both readings, syllabus, things you've created, slides, navigation, how the information is presented on the page, your file names, nomenclature is very important, and that's all part of information design. So luckily, we have frameworks. You don't have to know all these principles. We have frameworks for you, purpose-built tools to address all of these issues. These, you've probably seen them. Maybe some of you are already using them. In fact, I know some of you already use these. And we have sort of a variety of types. They are all built to be accessible, responsive in the mobile app and on a tablet, which more and more students use now, of course, and maybe you do too. So we've got 10-week, 6-week, different colors. We've also got on the far right here a new fully online template that has some extra features, tips for success for students, tips for online pedagogy for you, and things of that nature. That's a new template. So now we're going to move to taking a look at our course. I'm going to make it a little bigger to help all of us see it a little better, depending on what screen size you're on. This is a sample course, obviously, no real students in here, but it's based on one of our original templates. Now, as I mentioned, accessibility is key here. So we have carefully chosen colors that are the brand colors, but then the colors of the links and the white on the teal, things like that. This all passes accessibility guidelines. And I know this because this is a Canvas page, the home page of our template. And there is an accessibility checker that we're going to look at a little bit later when we get to the syllabus page. So I know that and it was built that way, designed to look good, again, on any size screen. When we put it down small, or shrink it, I should say, for a phone, for example, it stacks. This is why we have the jump to the module, so you can get down there. So this template, it's organized as you see chronologically, right? This makes sense. It makes sense for all of us because having a topic-based navigation system is not a good practice. Sorry for anyone who does it now, but what you're doing when you use topic-based is, even though you know the topics and you might think they're self-evident, I can guarantee you some students won't understand what the topics mean or what order they're in. It's much better to follow the system of the quarter with a week with modules and all your learning objects, readings, pages, quizzes, assessments, everything in the module. Okay, so you definitely want to have chronological modules, not topic-based. Another good practice up here, we know that you want to give a lot of supportive information to your students. So we've built this template with this fantastic UCSB student support page with information. This is largely geared toward undergraduates, but you could certainly adapt it for graduates or just, leave it as is. So let's go then to, oh, wait, before I go there, the image here. Lots of people leave the image as it is, or they change it. And I'm going to show you a couple of quick examples. This is picked a nice surfing picture there with a little pup. Always a fan of that. And then anthropology as well, which is very cool. We are going to talk about making images accessible and alternative text a little bit later, but I just wanted to show you these two for now for what you can do. So you can keep this, get rid of it, change it up, put something in there. Just make sure you do the alt text right, which we'll talk about. Another thing before I leave this is this ask them in our forum. This is something, again, and these are suggestions, right? This is how to design a course for all learners. And it's also anticipating you're going to get questions from students, right? A lot of questions. Some of them, of course, are personal or, specific to you and them, but there are some that are just general. And I use this a lot when, no matter what modality I taught in, so this is essential for online courses, but whatever modality you're teaching in, it's good to have a place where students can just ask a question rather than email you. And also other students often answer this in my experience. So that's something definitely to keep in mind. So this again is the template homepage. There are also placeholder pages that come with the template, and I'm going to show you one, and they're attached to these modules. These are all pages, so we're going to take a look at those here, but the placeholder pages. But if you already have a lot of content and you don't have the time or the interest in putting all of your content fitting on these placeholder pages, minimally import the homepage. Okay. Students need to know where to go and to find a place to go. You know what? I'm going to turn this do not disturb back on. There we go. There we go. Great. So looking over here, students, as they say, need a place. And actually looking over here, what I was going to say is in the Commons. You can find all of these in the Commons. And if you just want the homepage, you can get the homepage and then go from there. So now let's go to week one. Let's go look at some of the modules. Now you see here, there are a couple of placeholder pages that come with every module: introductions, readings, and resources. But Canvas makes it very easy, too easy for you to grab all your files from your computer and drag them into a module. Why should you not do that? Well, a big, long module with tons of links is very overwhelming and intimidating. And also really think about, do you need that much? Oh my gosh, I'm not going to say what you think I'm going to say. I wasn't going to say, do you need that much reading? Of course, we all need a lot of reading, more reading. But for a best practice is to keep the module short. And when you have more than 3 files, or readings or whatever in a module, you should put them onto a page. So Canvas is made up, obviously, of modules and pages. Pages are, once you put pages in a module, they're sequential. You next and previous through them. And you'll see here too, something else that comes up here. There's a lot of strange and abbreviated file names. Do yourself a favor and your students, you'll thank me for this. Find a file naming convention and stick with it. There's all kinds of different ones. You can do the, 1.1.3 reading with the topic or whatever, but just make sure they're representative and that you will recognize them and anyone will recognize them. This is like, what are these? Are these to be read or what are these things? So what I've done is I've taken the bulk of these, and I put them, instead of having them in the module here, I've moved them on, and you can delete them from the module afterwards. I left them here for now just so you could see them not looking good into them looking good. So I've done a couple of things here. This is one of the placeholder pages for readings and resources, and this is where you put, guess what? Your readings, your resources. So these are a variety of different, kinds of links. So you can, if you have your readings and things here, you would, they don't need to download them. They can see them here and you can see them in what's called the overlay. That's the default viewing for files like this. So again, you can see them in the overlay. Okay, so this is what these are, and students can download them if they wish, but they don't have to. They can view them, and as they say, many more students use phones and tablets, especially, big iPads with the pencil. So, you absolutely want to, this is much easier to consume, and it's part of information design. So you can even put an embed, which is a best practice also, embed a video instead of linking to it. And you can easily do that. I can show you that very quickly in case you're not familiar with that. You can easily add that. There's a button right here for YouTube, and you search for the video, and you can even paste in the URL too if you have it. And I'm just going to click out of here. I just wanted to show that to you. And you embed it here so someone doesn't go off to YouTube and through the rabbit hole of cat videos. Rabbit hole cat videos. Well, you know what I'm saying. Also, if you're someone who records in GauchoCast, if you record videos in GauchoCast Panopto, your lecturers, for example, you can also embed those here and put them where they belong. The idea is students look at this and readings and resources. It's clearly labeled part of information design. The files have a meaningful name, things are embedded, they stay here on the page. Students don't have to go out looking for things and emailing you or asking you questions in the forum to find out where these things are. And a tip about recorded lectures, it's not like being in class, right? You can record a lecture, but at least try and chop it up a little bit or something, make it sort of a little more consumable. And I know you're probably thinking, oh, she wants us to pander to the lack of attention span students or whatever. Well, think about even how we consume video, right? I mean, I snack on video, right? That's what they call them, video snacks. I try not to do too much of it, but nevertheless, we want something quick. We want something to the point. And in your lectures, people know they're not going to be quick. And I know that people can go back and forth and things, but just think about that when you're presenting, because that's information and you want to think about how am I presenting this? And as always, make sure closed captions are turned on or available. I don't think you can turn them off actually permanently. So you want to make sure that, they're always there and available. That's an important part of accessibility. So we're going to just save this page now. And now we're going to go next to the, oh, I know what I want to show you next. I was talking about, okay, next we're going to go to the syllabus page. Now, first of all, please do not hide the syllabus page. I see a lot of this, and sometimes I'm not really sure. I've had a few people tell me why they've done it because they don't feel it's prominent enough and they want to have it at the top of a module and they really want to have it. But remember, in the template, the syllabus is right here. And even if you do relink that to a document or something, please don't do that because the syllabus in Canvas is more than a page. It is a page, but it's supercharged because once you put a due date or a to-do date, you can put to-do dates on pages. You can, once you do that, it is populated down here in the course summary. So this is a page with some power in it. It's different from other pages because it pulls in the due dates and it goes into your students' calendars, which I know they appreciate. So just keep that in mind that this is an important feature of the Canvas syllabus. Also, students have told us that they use this left link a lot in courses that don't use a template because they don't, they don't want to go digging around trying to find the syllabus. So they use this left-hand navigation quite a lot because there are so many different course layouts. Obviously, this is why we encourage the template. I'm the broken record of the template. Okay. So what I've done here, and you may not have done it this way, you may have put a PDF. I see that a lot in the syllabus because this is the what's called the rich text editor, right? It's just like every other page. You can have like this, read the syllabus here. So there are some issues with this page that I'm going to go through and show you some accessibility tips that apply to any page in Canvas. So looking at this, you see right away there's I hope some things jump out at you of things that aren't great to do. So we're going to take a look and check the accessibility checker that I mentioned earlier. And this is called down here, this little checker, Vitruvian Man. You might have heard of this. This is what he's called. The UN adopted this symbol to kind of be a more universal symbol than the traditional person using a wheelchair icon. So this is sort of a more universal and equitable kind of access for all symbol. So it has 6, and he's not happy. He wants it to be 0. These are alerts. So we want to go ahead and we want to fix these. Now, I also wanted to mention if I had just linked the syllabus here, Vitruvian Man would be happy, but it's not a best practice, right? V-Man is looking for accessibility flaws, and posting a link is not one of them, but it's certainly not a good practice. So what I've done here, I've done both. Because some people just want that syllabus posted here as a document. So you can do that, put it here, but also you want to paste the information from the syllabus onto the page because you can check for accessibility. You can't with an attachment like this. And you also, it's easier for students to consume, right? You can edit it much more easily once you've done it rather than making changes, going in, grabbing it, making sure it's making the changes, re-uploading, making sure it's the right version. You absolutely want to paste your syllabus content here. So let's start and let's see what Vitruvian Man has to say and let's fix these things. So the first one, very common, don't use image file names. Now, what does alt text do? It obviously describes the text for someone using a screen reader or someone with low vision or someone with low bandwidth, either intellectually or in general, actual bandwidth. You want to make sure that if someone's in an area where the images can't load, or you at least with the alt text, it describes what the image is. There's a real art to writing alt text, and what you want to do is think of the context of this. Now you'll also see there is a decorative image, and try and resist the urge to click that right away. Because consider, if I took this away, would the meaning be the same? Now you might argue, sure, yeah, it's cute, but come on, it doesn't have a big meaning. Now, I would disagree with that. I would say I used to teach this course online, and people were very anxious about public speaking and rhetoric and presenting. And I like to put in some whimsical things, right? Like this silly image, obviously AI generated image with the dog teacher and the cats, dreaming about fish and a butterfly. I want to that to me that has meaning in the class. So this is gonna, I know you're nervous, it's gonna be a fun class. So to me it has meaning. So I would put in something like, and again, everybody will be different. You can go in depth, but don't go too crazy because screen readers will read it all out. So you don't want to, say relatively tall dog standing, but you do want to say, I would say shaggy dog standing in of board, front of board that reads, "Welcome to Advanced Rhetoric." Ooh, advanced rhetoric, because text that, oh my goodness, I can't type when people are watching. The reason you would put that there is because you'll see in the syllabus, I don't have that advanced rhetoric anywhere here. And if I don't say what's on the board, a blind or low vision student wouldn't be able to see this is the name of the course, even though this link says something different, which we'll get to in a minute. But you want to absolutely make sure it's in your alt text. If you have text on an image, and then having said that, don't have text on an image because it's just not a good practice. I see it, we see it so much. And, you know, AI and Canva, not to be confused with Canvas, Canva, everyone thinks we think we're designers, right? No, we're not. Let's be creative with our content instead of doing these things with images over text because they can't be read by screen readers and it's really doing a disservice if your student can't, navigate the site. I see a lot navigation buttons or butterflies or whatever that are images with week 1, week 2, week 3. And again, I again applaud your creativity and design, but it's not accessible unless you have the proper alt text. Um, Classroom full of cats, of mostly orange cats. Orange cats. Okay. Okay, so we don't forget to click apply because otherwise if you just click next, it won't take. First heading should be heading 2. This is something that Canvas says. I would think it would be heading 1, but no, heading 2. So we're going to change this headings level. We're going to get a message that says we probably need to adjust for the hierarchy, which we'll do, apply it. This is interesting, format as a list. So you want to format this as a list. You might think, well, it is a list, but it isn't a list because you didn't use this. I'm sorry, that's not the right. Here. You need to use this to make it a list. You probably went, or I probably went when I created it, 1 space, 2 space. That for screen readers, it's not going to work. So you want to format it as a list. You want to apply. Tables need captions. I would actually recommend considering whether you need a table for this at all. Unfortunately, Canvas doesn't have an easy way for you to align things like this because the function of this table is that it's just to align the columns and the rows, right? You should really only use tables for data and not for design and formatting. So if you do want to use it, you've got to have a caption. Now you might think, isn't course evaluation the caption? No, it has to be within the table. We're going to apply it. Table needs a header. Give it a header row. Apply. Yay! No accessibility. Now, remember I said that accessibility is Vitruvian man. He's not going to catch things like this, raw URLs. These are ugly raw URLs. That's what they're called. And we need to change them. You don't want to have these hideous long URLs that are not nice to look at. This is information design, usability, also for screen readers. Screen readers will go HTTP colon dash dash blah blah blah. You definitely don't want that. So you can do it a couple of ways. You can go to link option. I don't prefer this because sometimes I find when I'm trying to change the text, the window closes but you can do it this way. What I like to do is sort of remove it and add public speaking textbook or whatever. You remove it and then you redo it. Public speaking. Oh, okay. And there you go. And then, oh, okay, that did not work properly. Let me try that again. I know why, because I didn't do it in the right place. You know what? Let's try that again. Remove the link, add the link, and make sure that you put it in the right place. So maybe it is easier to do it the other way. And boom. So there we go. Now, we would do the same with this. We would remove the link. And actually, you know what? I'm going to show you how to do it via link options. And let's just call it for now, selected readings. Okay, and done. So again, this is much better than what we had before. Also, something else Vitruvian Man doesn't really catch are use of color. We want to avoid things like this, using color for meaning. Professors love color. We all love color, right? But color is problematic for people who are colorblind, red, green, and yellow, blue. And and also just in general, color has all different kinds of meaning, different cultures, different, just avoid it. And if you want to call it out, that's fine. Just call it out, but not in red or not, just do bold. So you would go back up here and just change it to black and make it bold if you like. Don't make everything bold. Everything's bold, nothing's bold. Same up here. And also, what do we want to do with this? We want to change this. We don't want to say read the syllabus here and have it in red, right? We want to we actually want to, this is quite the mess. I would actually kind of get rid of this whole thing. I would just do this. I would say, I think that's still red, but we can change that. Be sure to read the syllabus. And then you would do this. You would go up here to documents, and we know it's already in the course because it was linked there already. So there it is, boom. And you can save it. Oh, and now look, we know that Vitruvian Man is very happy. So we're all set and we've made all of our changes. So that's fantastic. Before we move on to the final checks that we're going to do for the course, to be sure it's great for you and your students, I wanted to show you just this very quickly, the difference between having specifically the syllabus, but any page where you have content, between what it looks like on Word, and this is the smaller screen kind of view, but what it looks like is a Word doc or a PDF, even worse. PDFs are a whole separate workshop that we'll talk about. And I know that Alex and Montserrat have been doing those. And, I didn't even get into PDFs here today, and this is what it looks like in a Canvas page. So it's much better than having attachments like that as a syllabus to have a Canvas page as well. So now that we've done all of the things that we want to do in our course, we've checked it, we've seen it as a student, we've looked at Vitruvian Man, we've done all the things. There's one final thing that's sort of hidden and not a lot of people know about. But wouldn't it be great if you could check all of your links in Canvas without having to go through every single page? Yes, and links, if you link to external tools, they break all the time, or the external, I'm sorry, not external tools, external links, they break all the time, they move, people make them private. So you definitely should do this before the class, but before the quarter starts, but definitely too, maybe during, or if students start to tell you files are broken, or you can't find something, you know that something has moved. So you just go from your home page, you go to settings, a lot of magical things under settings, but for now, we'll just get into validate links in content. Now, I'm going to restart the validation here, and what it will do, it will take a moment or two, and we'll come back to it. And it will look for everything it can't load in Canvas. Now, there will be some things in here that will appear broken, but they're not because they're a form or they're a library proxy or something like that. So don't get alarmed if you see a large number of broken links. Also, it pulls up unpublished things. So if you've left anything unpublished for now, this is a good way of checking that. So we're going to, in the meantime, while this is checking, we're going to go to the next thing you should consider doing before the quarter starts is to publish the course. You all know about publishing the course, right? There's the home page that you definitely want to make sure that you've published. And actually, we can go here and you see it's published. It's, oh, hey, there's a workshop. And the course is published already. You want to make sure when you go to the modules page and take a quick look and make sure that everything you want published is published and everything you don't is not. I have a few things here that are unpublished. There's a lot of empty pages because I haven't, this is just a demo course. So you'll just want to make sure that everything you want the students to see is published. If you don't publish it, students can't see it. Then a nice thing to do is to create an announcement to welcome your students to the class. Put the textbook information in there, office hours, anything else you want them to have in advance. That sets up a really nice tone. Even if you're meeting in person, again, it's not just for online. This is a great thing to do. And then once you have, you can allow them to like it. You can set dates for that it's available until. You can do all of that and then set up a welcome announcement. Also in settings, oh, okay, sorry. So let me not get ahead of myself. When you do the announcement, it will go out depending on your student's notification. It will go out to the students who have it turned on in Canvas. It's default that they will receive an announcement notifications in their email unless they turn it off. And you can't control that if they turn things on or off. But at least if they've turned it off, at least when they come to the page, they'll see it anyway. And how you make sure they see it is in the settings. You go down here to the bottom and you select this. Right now, we're not showing any announcements on the home page. So this, you can put up to 15. I wouldn't recommend that. I used to do 3 or 2 or even just 1. And then update your course details so the announcement that you would have created would appear on. It even comes up now, recent announcements. So that's something else that's a very nice thing to do. And if you're building your course as you go, which is reasonable, and sometimes not everything is ready, you can just release this and let the students know that modules will be released at certain dates. I've seen a lot of instructors do that, and that's a great thing to do. So let's go back, our final step. Let's go back to settings and let's take a look at how many broken links we have. Oh my goodness. All right, we have 18. Now, I know for a fact that some of these, oh, it is wrong. So now I would definitely want to go and look at this page for readings or resources, find that chapter. Okay, it's gone. So you definitely want to replace those. So the welcome, meet your instructor, course success resources, things like this, college, these are things that I've had on a welcome page. Now, what you can do, yeah, this page, I'm actually going to delete this altogether because this is not something that I need. And you might find like there's some funky things in your course, old stray readings or things that you didn't know you put in there. When you import it, especially, that's when it's going to come up, right? Is when you've imported things. So remember, settings, validate links and content, fix those broken links. And if you need help with any of this, right? I mean, this is a lot. And you might look at this and think, I don't know how to fix this, or how do I find the replacement, or I can't, can you help me? Absolutely, we can. I'm going to stop sharing now and just again reassure you that our group has calendars full of appointments. I know my group now is hearing it saying, oh no. But yes, we're delighted to meet with you, to consult with you, talk to you about your courses, help you. We have pedagogical experience. It's not just tech, support. I've taught for years and my colleagues all have backgrounds that can help you as well. So please reach out to us. I'm going to be sending you a handout. It's actually from Canvas. It's their course evaluation checklist, and they redid it. It's actually really good, and a lot of these principles are there. I will also when I email you, you'll see on the bottom there's a link to our support site, and there's a link in Brett. You can actually we can put it in the chat, a link to the support site, a link to my calendar if you want to book an appointment with me specifically, or send a ticket. And if I'm out or whatever, you'll get, one of my wonderful colleagues. So definitely, please remember, we're here for you. We want to help you. We love helping faculty get their courses ready for their students. So thank you everyone for coming and have a great quarter.